Hello, Legion. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more of The Long Dark in our Survival School series. So I actually got some good feedback. You know, it's interesting. One of the benefits of I'm combining two thoughts in one here. But one of the benefits of having my new rig with this KB Lake processor is I'm actually recording this at like 2:30. It's 2:30 right now, the day of the episode. I don't normally do this, but given how quickly I can now compress and edit and prepare the episodes, it shouldn't be an issue at all. And then I'm going to do more of a long-term recording session for this week, probably tomorrow morning. But so I'm actually recording this same day as the episode going live. Very rarely happens, but it's just been a busy week. And when I do the look ahead, which is behind for the channel, I'm going off the rails here, not talking about the series for a second. When I do the look ahead, I'll talk a little bit more about why that is and why it's been a little bit hectic and why I've been talking about doing recordings day to day. It's not entirely fun stuff, but anyway, I did get some good feedback, which is part of the reason that I waited, because I wanted to make sure people, I'd read some comments and left, and people had left their feedback and had time to leave their feedback. And there are two things I want to focus on in today's video. The very first thing I want to make sure I do is actually do away with this little bit of encumbrance that I have, which is not a lot, and it's not enough to really slow me down that much. But I'm also carrying a good number of sticks and possibly tinder. So yeah, I am actually carrying a good amount of tinder, but sticks even more so. So tell you what, why don't I step over here and put down 5 of the sticks. And the very first thing that I actually want to talk about, and now we're down to 64.6 pounds, that's awesome. So you got 1 hour daylight left. There's not a lot of time left to do stuff outside. I might make this wolfskin coat for the end of the series too, that'd be cool. But there's one thing I want to talk about, and it doesn't require me really going anywhere. I'm just stepping outside in case there's a nice view, which we'll see. But I heard some wind, so yeah, it actually looks kind of crappy. But it feels like 24 degrees. Yeah, let's go back inside and talk about this. I was hoping for like maybe a nice evening view to talk about this subject. But so speaking of dealing with encumbrance, I got a request from one person who wanted me to talk a little bit about, hang on, let me look at this. I've got comments pulled up here. And I had one a moment ago. Actually sounds like the weather's getting worse now, interestingly enough. Where was that comment? Sorry, I thought I had it. Oh yeah, here it is. This comment's from Brad. So someone's talking about inventory management. I think, was this Brad that said this or someone else? I think it might have been Papagendo that brought up inventory management, and then Brad brought up tracking animals once they've been shot. So we're going to try and do both in this episode. And I'm going to start with, I believe it was Papagendo that brought up inventory management. So if I'm mixing this up, I had the comments right in front of me, so I was able to read not only who wrote them, but read the comment. And I changed the window just absent-mindedly, and now I don't have them. But anyway, hopefully I've got the names correctly for the person who left the comment. But regardless, here's what I want to talk about first with inventory management. If you've watched to this point in the series, then you know mostly what you need to do to manage your inventory well. You want to always sort by weight. The only reason that ever gets annoying is that sometimes when you're sorting stuff by weight, when you have to drop a number of items like guts and you're dropping them one at a time, as the weight of the stack drops, the position, because it's sorted by weight, the position of the item on the screen changes. So sometimes it helps just to go A to Z while you're dropping a bunch of stuff. But when you're actually looking at what is taking up the most weight, you can usually start by just looking at your backpack and thinking in terms of, what am I carrying too much of? Some of the things that pile up quickly, we've seen in this episode. Tinder. There's a pile of tinder here because, again, I dropped it to lose weight. Also, cattails and sticks can add up very, very quickly. So the very first step is just kind of being aware of the fact that the little tiny things can actually add up hugely. Again, I mentioned this earlier in the series, but I'll say it again. One criticism that I received a lot, especially in Against All Odds Season 1 and in early Season 2, was I tended to carry a lot of flares around. And I've tried to dial that back. It honestly never bothered me that much, but the fact is flares are half a pound each. Okay? So a single flare is actually a good amount of weight. And so when you pick up 4 or 5 or 6 flares, that's a huge amount of your capacity that's like 5% of your capacity, for instance, if you're carrying around, say, 6 flares. Because that's, 3 pounds of flares. So that's literally 5%, a 20th of all of your weight in just flares. And think of all the other things you have to carry. Another thing that you have to consider now, and I mentioned this early on, I'm going to mention this early on in my discussion because it is so new. It is a newer factor now that the Resolute Outfitter update has come out. Clothing is, of course, very, very heavy. You can wear so many items on your body now that one of the main aspects of inventory management that's newer to me and newer to all of us that play the Long Dark is this idea of, well, do I need to be wearing everything I'm wearing all the time? Typically in the Long Dark, you just work towards the perfect outfit and you always wear it. Now the Long Dark, with this new update and probably future updates, is moving towards a type of playstyle where you have multiple outfits that you're actively switching between depending on what you want to do. If you know that the weather is good and you want to go out and make a distance run to an area where there might be a cache of supplies, you'll dress light because you don't need the protection, and it'll give you additional space to carry things. So that's an inventory management piece that is related to clothing. But then again, if you just need to go out for a hunting run or need to go out for lumber nearby and it's cold and you want to make sure that you survive the night, especially if it's dark or getting dark, then you're going to wear more, obviously. So the game is moving in a direction where it's going to be asking you to plan more each time you leave the house, so to speak. So clothing is the second big thing to think of after how the little things add up. And then, of course, it's just keeping track of the big things. What's at the top of the list when you sort by weight? Do you need the rifle? Have you run out of bullets? Drop it. If you don't have bullets anymore, don't carry the hunting rifle around. It sounds silly, but you'd be surprised, especially if you get in a survival situation that is intense, how easy it is to forget that you're carrying around that 9-pound item, right? And of course, the weight is contingent somewhat on how many bullets you have in it as well. And then water, of course, will also add up and take a great deal of space away from you. So you have to keep track of that. And I think I've spoken to that a good deal during the series itself. And aside from that, things like whetstones, even fishing tackle, matches, believe it or not, if you start to pile up a ton of matches on the lower difficulty levels, which you will do a lot in lower difficulty, duplicate tools. Do you have 2 hatchets? Do you have 2 knives? Do you need to carry one? First of all, do you need any of the tools at any given time? Are you going to somewhere where you're going to need the pry bar? No? Okay, drop it. It's 2 pounds. Get rid of it. And then same with the hatchet. Are you really going to be using the hatchet, or are you in a situation where you have plenty of wood? Drop it. So inventory management is about, number 1, knowing what in your inventory can add up and encumber you, and then number 2, knowing what you need eminently in that moment. And then somebody else asked the question of, well, what do you do when it comes to stockpiling? Because that has to do not necessarily with your on-character inventory, but your location-based inventory, the stuff that you have in a particular spot. For instance, here in this space, let's go ahead and light up this lantern because it's getting kind of dark. I know it's annoying that there's a lot of wind right now while I'm talking about this, but hey, it's the game. What can we do? So we have a stockpile of guts. The guts on this guy. Got a comment the other day. Yeah, someone literally said the guts on this guy. I know. It was corny and amazing. Sorry. Totally distracted myself. So yeah, we have a stockpile of that stuff. We also have the curing branches down here. But up here, we have some clothing, right, that we put away. We have our jerry can. We have some tinder up here as well, in addition to the paper downstairs. And we have these sticks that we just dropped. So, in general, you can drop your excess of all these things we've been talking about and organize them as you see fit in your living space. I've talked about how to, stand in a particular location and drop items to get them to be placed in one particular location and kind of neatly, because as I've said, I can't right now because this... Well, can I pick stuff up while I've got the lantern going? Maybe I can. Let's try it. No, oh yes I can. There we go. So, see, now that I'm doing this, it's a little bit harder to place the sticks amongst each other. It's actually not as hard as I thought. But when you're dealing with things like tinder plugs, see, it's a lot harder to find that happy spot where I can now put that tinder plug back with the rest, and now I've got to put it like here. So sometimes it's good to know when to drop stuff down in one single spot, in one go, just like dropping 20 items at once so you get them in a neat stack like that. Well, it's not a neat stack, but it's condensed. It's not taking up a ton of room. And then it's good to know when you need to drop items individually like this and space them out when you're organizing clothing. But that's more of a personal choice. That's an aesthetic. But in terms of stockpiling stuff, you're just finding a happy spot for all of those things that add up in your inventory that you don't need at any given time. The kinds of things that you would stockpile, you've seen in this series. You would stockpile food. If it's meat, you're going to put it outside in the snow to where it doesn't freeze. If it's an actual canned item, you're going to keep it indoors. And you can pretty much put it anywhere. And then keep an eye on its condition nonetheless, because it will still degrade. And then beyond that, the question was also asked in terms of management, well, what do I do when I need to leave one place for another? What do I leave and what do I take with me? Do I feel like when I leave a particular home base, do I need to take everything with me? Well, obviously that's going to weigh you down, right? So you need to make some executive calls. You need to make an executive judgment on whether or not, oh, the wind's gone. That's good. You need to make an executive judgment on whether or not you need everything that's there. Usually when I leave a zone for another, I will take the critical items. So I might take all of my guts with me, for instance, that I need. I might take any hides that I haven't already crafted with. Obviously, if I can, I would craft any equipment that I need with those hides first and then just put it on. And then maybe leave inferior clothing items behind. Do you take cloth with you? Do you take tinder with you? Not so much. So stuff like this, when I was leaving for another zone, would I take it with me? No, because I'm going to find additional tinder in a new area. I'm going to find, I'll get tinder just from chopping up planks, which you can do endlessly in the world. And I don't mean planks, I mean actual logs, chopping up actual branches and limbs out in the world. You can get tinder from that. And then the cloth, you can usually find items in the world to break down. So if you have a stash of cloth, unless you really feel like you need it, leave it when you're going from zone to zone. Understand what you're going to be able to find in the new area and what you might not. And some of that comes from experience, right? So that's the inventory management piece. Now, it's pretty dark, and we're also well rested, which sucks. But actually sounds like it's pretty nice outside. So let's take a peek real quick. Okay, feels like 24 degrees. Visibility is pretty crappy, though, because there's still a lot of snow in the air. So tell you what, let's go back inside. Let's go upstairs. Hey, dead guy. How's it going? He's like a ghost in the darkness. That's freaking scary. All right, so now what if we slept for... I'm just going to say 6 hours. We're not going to sleep for 6 hours. It's going to wake us up much sooner than that. Yeah, we're up to 87% condition, 8 hours darkness left. Let's see if the snow's gotten any better. We're going to do some night hunting here. Someone was asking about what do you do to track an animal. Now, we might not be able to night hunt if the visibility is still crap. Yeah, it's still... Never mind. What I'm going to do is pass the time. Let's go for 6 hours. And then I can rest for 2 more. We're probably going to go up to 90% condition, a little bit over 90 while we're doing this. And the benefit, of course, is we'll also be able to drink some of our water and relieve a little bit more of our burden. Okay, so we're getting thirsty. Let's cancel that. Sounds like the weather's gotten a little better too. All right, so that's going to be a huge drop. Yeah, we're back down to 62.57. And let's go ahead and sleep the rest of the night. And then maybe, just maybe, if this wind has been dying down all night, maybe... Again, there are unique weather patterns to each zone, so you can kind of learn what happens as the weather transitions in each zone, like what each pattern generally means. What can you expect next if, for instance, it's snowing at the moment or not? All right, let's eat this energy bar. Quick 500 calories. And I think I have some cooked fish outside as well, right? I believe I do. I don't think I've eaten everything I had out in nature's freezer, so to speak. Okay, good. It's going to be freaking cold. All right. All right, let's drink. Now we are good to go hunting. Let's see if we can find a deer. And I'm going to deliberately try not to kill it in one shot. Wish me luck. The curse of my long dark existence has been, in the past, not being able to kill things in one hit. Now that I am deliberately trying to do so, that is, not to kill them in one hit, I'm going to do it every time. But people have asked me about, how do you track animals? Oh, really? Where? Oh, I didn't see you. Remind me how many bullets I have? Alright, well, maybe we can try and kill this wolf. Okay, perfect. That is what I wanted to happen. So, hey, we are level 2 firearm skill. Let's take a quick look at what that means for your benefit. Alright, so critical hit chance increased by 10%, 2 condition per repair action. So we have a slightly better chance of hitting now. Now, one thing you should note, if you want to know if you've hit something without necessarily looking for blood, notice that there was a little indicator on the right side of the screen. You can rewind if you want to and check it. When I hit the wolf, it showed me that my skill increased, and then of course it showed the level up as well. If you hit something, your skill will go up. If you didn't hit something, you will not see a skill increase. Okay? So that's a good way to know whether or not your aim was true. So anyway, we now see a little blood splatter and some blood from where the wolf took off, and this is how you track the animal. You've got prints, and you've got blood. And given the time of day right now, we actually have a pretty good run at both. There's another wolf right there, so I need to be careful. That might actually be the wounded wolf. It could be. I don't think it is, though. All right, I'm actually going to kind of step this way to see if I can avoid. Because I think our wolf ran this way. It's kind of annoying. I would like to just be able to track this right now so you could watch, but there's another wolf. It could be the same wolf. So when a wolf is hit like this and you know it's bleeding, it's going to die. It's just going to run somewhere and bleed out, but it's going to die. Yeah, that might be the same wolf. Damn. Well, I was hoping it would run off and really give us a good tracking experience, but let's go back up here and see what's going on. It's getting a little warmer. The tracks are pretty much already gone, so you just have to kind of keep an eye on the red dots. There's 2 wolves nearby. I'm going to waste some bullets. Damn. I don't think I hit him either. Notice there was no skill indicator, but I did scare him with the shot. So that was a wasted bullet. Notice how carefully I aimed there, right? All right, so we're still tracking our original wolf. This is his blood trail. We didn't hit the other one, so there's not going to be a blood trail. That... What are you going for? He's going for a rabbit. So hopefully that rabbit will run in another direction. Nope, maybe not. Say goodnight. All right, see the skill indicator on the right-hand side there? All right, let's keep tracking our original wolf. Hopefully that wasn't the same one. Shouldn't have been. A wolf that is bleeding out is not going to go into hunting activity like that. But anyway, let's see if we can find him. And not get attacked by any other wolves while we're doing this. Sometimes it's a matter of stepping up to where there's a spot in the snow and then continuing to look around until you see the next one. Like so. See, sometimes... Oh, really? How many bullets do I have now? 2. Gotta save at least 1. Should have known there'd be other wolves. So we have some wolf carcasses to investigate. So we're going to keep following the wolf from before. So that was all 3 wolves in this area that we just shot at. That might... Oh. Are you serious, game? Can you just let me track one animal? I think the one that's growling is the one that's coming toward me. Okay, we now have 1 bullet left. I can't afford to fire anymore. And now I can't actually see where the next blood drop is. Okay, there it is. That's really unfortunate. I wanted just a good, authentic tracking experience, and instead we've had to defend ourselves against these wolves while trying to do it. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's a rock. Wait, no. Is that a rock and a wolf? Okay, I can't quite tell. Let's go back and find our blood. Find the wolf's blood, rather. Okay, so this is the last drop that I can see. Am I... blind, or... It's possible that one of the wolves we just took down was the same one. Typically, a wolf that's bleeding out is not going to just randomly stop tracking like this. Oh, wait. No, I thought that was a drop of red, but it's not. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I know where that spot is. I think the blood is actually going away at this point. So, unfortunately, that might be about the best we can do. That's a crappy example. Normally, when you're tracking like that, you would not try and track an animal right into 3 or 4 others that are going to attack you and make you lose ammo. So, not the best demonstration. I apologize for that. But hopefully the lesson is still there in that you can use the tracks and you can use the blood in order to track an animal. And you just need to be careful to avoid the situation that I just got myself into. It feels like 18 degrees and we're pretty cold. I kind of want to start skinning these, but at the same time, I don't really have the ability to do so. Hang on. Let's see if we can start a fire real quick. So we have some sticks on us. And the fire will help us warm up a little bit. Yeah, that's annoying. So normally the blood trail wouldn't disappear that quickly. But I think what might have happened is I think the wolf that was coming towards us was the one we had already shot. Sometimes they will run until they die. Sometimes they will... I don't know. Like, I feel like once you've shot an animal and it's bleeding out, it will die. So I don't... The likelihood is low that that was the same wolf. I don't know that I can really remember any instances. I'm trying not to assume that it's not true, but I can't remember any instances where a bleeding out wolf randomly changed its mind and decided, no, just kidding. Alright, so we're plenty warm at the moment. It feels like 59 degrees. Why does it feel like 59 solid? It should be... That seems weird. Alright, and then how long of a fire do we have? 34 minutes? We can do better than that. Yeah, there's a glitch with the temperature right now. I'm not sure what's causing that, but let's go ahead and... Let's use the knife. Hour, 24 minutes. You know what? I'm not going to worry about the meat as much. I just want the hides and the guts. Fun fact, when you take a brand from a fire like this, or when you hold your torch up, it actually does keep you a little warmer because you've got that fire near you. So just know that that gives you a few extra degrees in that way. God, at least we killed 3 wolves, but I mean, the point was to show you a freaking tracking demonstration, not the other way around. So you saw a little bit of tracking, but we weren't actually successful. Sorry about that. Alright, see, the brand just went out and we saw the temperature go down, as described. I'm going to come over here and then we're just going to go back to the camp. And I think what I'm going to do... I have just 2 more... Oh, hey, there's the bunny as well that he killed. Oh, it's perfect. I think what I'm going to do is... Okay, it's about to go above freezing. There we go, harvested. I mean, I guess I can get the meat now, can't I? Because it's warm enough. Getting pretty thirsty and hungry, but we're not going to freeze if we get this meat. And we got the meat from the bunny, too. This is one of the best tracks in the Long Dark. I love it. Oh, hello. All right. We have 1 bullet left, which we are going to save for the dam. That's our lucky bullet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to leave something behind. Maybe I will take this to... Nah, you know what? I feel like I've covered almost everything. So what I'm going to do is this episode's going to go live tonight. You guys leave comments. I'm going to give this one more shot. People generally were feeling like I'd covered most topics, and I think I covered tracking pretty satisfactorily right there, as much as we didn't actually get to track a wound all the way to the site of the animal's death. You still get the basics. That's generally what you want to do. And there's not really much you can do beyond that point. And of course, the tracks and the blood do degrade over time. So you want to find an animal soon after you've shot it, or you're done. All right, let's drop this meat in the freezer. No longer encumbered, and let's step inside. So yeah, let me know what your final thoughts are. This is kind of a last call. We did get some good stuff in there. We got 3 wolf hides. Good God. See, let me show you what I was talking about. If I go drop now. See, now that it's in stacks less than 4, it's not going to pull up the interface every time. And as it drops, see, it's moving down the list. So sometimes that can cause small issues. Just be aware of that. And then finally, let's go ahead and drop this rabbit hide. There we go. Didn't drop the first time for some reason. Okay, so yeah, anyway, as I was saying, last call. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see. Someone has mentioned, and I want to say this in the series. I've said it in the comments, but I want to make sure you guys know this. One thing that's come up a lot is, well, what about the forge, Hadrian? You're going to show the forge. And again, the forge is where you can make some of the more advanced items in the game. I don't want to show you how to get to the forge because I want to leave you as a new player with the experience of finding the forges yourself. If you already know where they are, fantastic. Good for you. For you guys, I didn't mean to sound that sarcastic, but for you guys, what I will do is what I'm going to try to do is do like a half episode, and I will play this game, maybe not this exact same one, but I will play it offline, and I will get to a forge, and then I will record what to do there. And I won't necessarily talk for 25 minutes, but I want to show like what you can do at a forge without showing you how to get to one, and how you operate one, just so that is in the clear, and you're kind of aware of the dynamics of how those work. And that way, it's still true to the spirit of the series. I haven't spoiled anything for you, but there's that extra bit of tutorial as well. And I'm willing to do that with any other topic that's worthy of a half episode. So again, these comments are going to remain open regardless of whether I'm still recording the series actively. But I do think, unless someone else has another good suggestion aside from inventory management and tracking, I will go ahead and end the series with episode 18 in the series proper anyway. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. New simulation, survival, and/or science fiction. There we go. Content airs every single day at 6 p.m. Eastern. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.